Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good to be here, even under present circumstances. I have to warn you, the pipes aren't doing very well today. They haven't been doing well for about 5 days. I've had the worst sore throat. But anyway, such is the cost of having children, just kind of the way that it goes. I do call them in a loving fashion, my little petri dishes, because they share and things spread like you wouldn't believe. But super excited to be here with you guys today. As you guys saw in the title, it's official. I'm getting sued. I knew all it was going to take was to have one interview where I said, hey, it's been 21 years and I've never been sued. Well, it's been 21 years and now I've been sued. So at the end of the day, I really want to kind of cover with you guys, kind of generally speaking, kind of my thoughts on the matter. And kind of take you through it in all honesty. This is something that I just found out about. It was sent to me directly. But here's what I can tell you as a landlord. And this is what's kind of funny is I've reached out to a lot of people, not everybody I know, but I reached out to a lot of people, landlords my size. They've all been sued. They've all been sued. They're like, you've never been sued? I was like, no, never. They're like, you've never been sued. I was like, I've never been sued. They're like, okay. We want what you're having. They've never been sued. I've never been sued. And so I asked them, I said, well, the times that you were sued, like, it's just us. Like, and they're like, yeah, like it's frivolous 99% of the time. Like one time you're like, yeah, I guess I can see their point. But it was extenuating circumstances and this, that, and the other. So one of the things that I would tell you is the easiest way to not get sued is to be landlords like we are. Granted, we're getting sued now, but we've been doing this for 22 years. 22 years. I guess I'll kind of take the odds of only having been sued once. And so at the end of the day, most importantly, what you have to do as a good landlord is you have to take care of things as they come up. That's why I always tell my guys, operations is the most important to me. It's how I keep the bills paid. It's how I keep our tenants happy. It's how we continue to grow the business. It's why we pay the money that we pay to have people taking care of things as they come up. And so I think that that's the really important thing is you do everything you can to not get sued. Now, we are getting sued. So let's look at we're getting sued. So while we are getting sued, I read the complaint against us. And suffice to say, I'm pretty sure they have unicorns where that came from. At the end of the day, what I can tell you as a landlord is you can't guarantee that you're never, ever, ever not going to get sued. You're likely eventually going to get sued. They don't need to prove anything to start a lawsuit. They don't have to prove anything. All they have to do is fill out some paperwork that says, I'm suing you, with their feelings, with their opinions, with their beliefs, with their understanding. All of those things can go into them getting, what's the right word? Indulged in their beliefs that they think that they have this amazing case against you. Now, here's what I will tell you. There are a lot of landlords that would sit there and have the conversation with their attorney, and they would say, let's just settle something with them. Settle something for nothing? Yeah, I'm not feeling that. That doesn't feel very right to me. I don't, the justice rib right here. It's not tickling the justice rib. So at the end of the day, I look at it and say, what are my principles worth? And in all honesty, the conversation that I've had with my attorney, we're going to the end on this one. We're going to the end on this one. There is so much fabrication in what was written there was so much, there was only one side of the argument considered by this attorney. I'm pretty sure he's being paid by the level of outrage he had in the email that was sent to me. And at the end of the day, it's not that I'm not taking the case seriously. I take it very seriously because I'm very annoyed that somebody would bring a case against me only listening to one side and the one side not having proven anything. So, but at the end of the day, this is our system. People are allowed to bring suit. And so I would never want that taken away from me. However, if it does prove that it's something that's frivolous, then there should be consequences to that, because I believe that there's a level of frivolity. I believe that's the word. Again, 9th grade dropout in this suit that's been brought. So that being said, I'd read through the complaint. There are gaps so big, Dion's entire old school of 18-wheelers could drive through them, that I'm looking forward to it. Quite frankly, I'm looking forward to it. We had agreed with the tenant on terms. And before those terms could even have termed out, we're getting this from the attorney. So we're more than happy to engage. It's been 21 years. So I've had 21 years to add to my legal fund because I thought you needed to have a little legal fund just in case. So we've been able to add to that over the 21 years, and we're ready. So I'm excited to bring you guys updates. We will go to the end on this one. And that's the conversation that's already been had with my attorney. And so while I understand that I believe what I agreed to with the tenant was more than fair, and it was actually on the fairness of their side, and they didn't believe so after they agreed to it. So we'll see where this thing goes, but yeah, we're going to follow this thing to the end. So the only advice that I would have for you guys as landlords is you're probably eventually going to get sued. When you get the letter from that attorney, you can expect that it's going to be way beyond the pale. It's going to, I mean, literally, I'm surprised they didn't ask to recover the money that they spent in gas when they came to look at the apartment. This is to the depth and breadth and level that they got to. Now, having negotiated contracts for 27 years, 26 years, I get it. You threw everything in the kitchen sink at it. I get it. So that way you can go from that number to hopefully a lower, you're going to get to a lower number, but hopefully you get as much as you possibly can. I get it. I get the structure of it. But let me say this. I'm not looking to settle. I'm looking to go all the way. And so at the end of the day, this is much less about me and much more about the system and the process. I recognize that there are other landlords that might not have the resources that I have. I recognize that there are other landlords that are going to be unrightfully sent a silly letter like this that is just completely out of context and completely out of depth of reality. And so with that being said, I'm more than happy to engage. I have attorneys for a reason. We are funding them for a reason. And now we go to the end. And that's just going to be how it is. So I want to make sure that for the little landlord, for the guy who has a couple of units and just starting out and gets some ridiculous thing like this. And it's not to say that the process is ridiculous. The process isn't ridiculous. I respect the process. But for something like that to even have come across is bothersome. It's bothersome. But you know what? This is what we're built for. We're built for this. I just want to protect the smaller landlord that wouldn't necessarily have the means, the attorneys, the experience. Now, I've never been sued, but I can promise you this. My attorneys have been through this a number of times. They saw it and they said, yep, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be preparing something. And I said, any concerns? They're like, no. No concerns? Nope. None. Okay. Sounds good. And I said, I guess it's in the right hands. So at the end of the day, what all we can do is be good landlords. That's the first part about not getting sued. I'm not thrilled I'm getting sued. It's okay. What's the next step? Because as you're in this game for a really long time, what you recognize is nothing's the end of the world. You'll always find a way out. There's always some different way it can be done. And if you've done everything you could above and beyond, and you've done everything above board and always given the information, then you really have nothing to fear, because we truly have done the right thing, trying to help. So we'll see where this thing takes off. This week is going to be an interesting week. And I believe that they're going to touch base sometimes this week, the attorneys. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, this is the update, the joys of landlording. So for those people who believe that landlording isn't a job, it's a job. It's a job. It's something that definitely you have to do and take care of. And I think for the other landlords in the group, just because you're sued doesn't mean you're guilty, and it doesn't even mean they have a case. So while I take the process very seriously, I know, and while I take some of the circumstances in this case seriously, and I understand them, what is being asked for is beyond the pale. And so that's what we're going to continue to go down the path of. So hopefully this encourages you guys. Hopefully this gives you at least kind of a mind's eye. I've been a great landlord for 21 years. Have we been perfect? Of course not. No one's perfect. But have we done a really good job for 21 years? Yeah. Do we have more references than we know what to do with? Yeah. Do we have more town officials that know that we do a great job at what we do? Yeah, we do. And that's what's really important. We don't have this reputation. This is where reputation matters. We don't have this reputation as, oh my word, you rented from those guys? Oh my word. So we, for 21 years, have made a habit of giving the advantage to the tenant. And when we believe that we agreed to something that was fair and equitable, and then they decide to change track, well, then there's no need to give them the extra. There's no need to do that anymore. So let's go. So I will give you guys an update sometime this week and let you know exactly what that turns out to be. So with that being said, let's jump in and take some questions. And I see Robert Farinelli. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Consider it a badge of honor. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you know, I appreciate, I do get what you're saying 100%. I don't think it's a badge of honor. I think what it is it's a letting you know the state of humanity. You know, I will be asking the attorney to, you know, find out what I'm going to be able to share, because I think it's really important to protect you from tenants like this that then become predatory and then expect life's refund. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that with you guys. But let's jump into the questions. Corby Carter, gonna have to catch up on this in Futureland. See you guys at boot camp. Corby, we'll see you at boot camp, my man. Hello, promise it wasn't me, Dividend Dave. I knew it wasn't. I saw the complaint. Knew it wasn't. Look forward to this one. I'll be in church though, so only chat for me for a little while. Appreciate you. Give the Lord his due, my good friend. All-nighter hider. Yo, this looks like it's going to be a good one. Well, I hope all of them are a good one. Bedros. But, or Peter. But yeah, I think it's always one where I come to share my knowledge with you guys, exactly what's happening, what's going on. And so you guys get kind of a feel for that. So yeah, that's kind of always the hope, is that the experience that I have to go through, in some way helps you guys. Biting my fingers, better go get some popcorn. Michelle Meyer, morning all. Good morning, Michelle. And Hyder saying hi to everybody. I handwrite in all caps too. Nice. I'm suing you too for being awesome. Thanks, Dion. Thanks, Dion. I appreciate that. Oy. And yes, this really is Diet Sunkist. Oh, it's good. All-nighter. Dave's name may not be on the paperwork, but to hire someone to sue Matt is pretty much the same thing. That's true. It probably is true. Again, I don't really know what to do with those things. I got it, and I was just like, huh, which attorney should this go to? And I was like, ooh, I know which attorney this is going to go to. And then it was really funny because my wife said, oh, I sent that over to this attorney. Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. Leela Kiros can confirm, Hyder. Very awesome. Kip, SOS Investment Properties. Morning, you all from sunny Tampa. Kip, fantastic to see you as always. Great spirited hockey game yesterday between our two clubs. The Yoder, good morning, all. Can't wait to hear this one. Someone is money hungry. It's very interesting that you say that, Yoder. Yeah, when I read the report, I was just like, I mean, literally, they asked for everything but the gas money for what they spent to come look at the apartment. It's literally completely over the top, crazier than I've ever seen. I've never been sued, but I've seen letters from tenants where they just assert all those things. And I was like, that's fine. You know, do what you need to do. I disagree with you. And you know that I have emails that speak to that. And so in the past, it's always been the thing that they've never sued because we've always shown the path of what we do. It's document. That's the way that it goes. We document. Watch out and look for your state to see if you need text messages or emails or whatnot. But again, usually when you're talking about, you know, small claims and things like that, usually when you're talking about that number, that's kind of the purpose, is when you're talking about that number, you know, in our state, it's $5,000 and more requires an arbitrator. And so it gives you the ability to kind of get in there and have that conversation. And I will be unrelenting. I know exactly what's right in this case, and that's it, period. And if that means I die on Justice's Hill, then that's the way it's going to go. Principles are expensive, and that's just the way it needs to be. I'm suing you for the course, making me too much money. I don't want to know. I don't know what to do with it all. CJ Underwood with the humor. Well done, sir. Yeah, the course has been awesome. Your guys' feedback has been incredible. Honestly, it's all I could ever ask for, knowing that my 20 years experience has helped you guys. I'm thrilled. You guys are doing great with it. Every single thing that I see that you guys talk about has been awesome. You guys supporting each other, talking in the message boards. It's more than I could ask for. It's been an honor to be a part of your investment journey. And I know that it's helped out people. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of income is being realized because they have proper processes and systems in place now that will help them grow as landlords, managing tenants and even managing things like this. One of the parts of the course, I even say, you have to have a lawyer on retainer. You have to. You must. And it must be somebody that you know that you're already comfortable with. That's why when this happened, done. Just that simple. I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to be concerned. I didn't have to say, oh my, none of the above. It was something as simple as we have it, we forward it on, and we'll have a conversation and then commence from there. Sorry, I got excited. Financial firefighter, aloha, Mark. Paul Christian, good morning, sir. Hyder. Nathan Meredith, good to see you back, Nathan. Peter Bedros, spill the beans. There's a lot of beans I spilled. We're gonna get more beans this week. Nick Ragland Johnson, good to have you here. Richard Gamino, good morning, sir. Documentation beats conversation. So I'm sure Matt has CYA. So to Hyder's point, CYA is important. Cover your ass. However, we make that part of our process, and it's not to cover our ass. It really is to be able to show the tenant when they come back and they have an issue, or if the town gets involved and they have an issue, I can prove to them that we've done what we said we did. That's it. It's really about making sure that you're not leaving any power to the unsaid word. Or, well, I would have thought they would have. Nope, not I would have thought they would have. It is, here's exactly what we did. And here's why we did what we did. And maybe that was right. And maybe that was wrong. And you can certainly correct us. But this is why we did what we did. And when you're doing things from a place of honesty and you're doing things from a place of honor, that's never steered us wrong before. It's never steered us wrong. And that's the way we're going to continue to be. Bougie Barbie, good to have you. Landlord Odyssey, good morning. Let's see. Bedros, Matt needs to have a divorce party, but a getting sued party. Well, don't you do that after it happens? I think you do it after it happens. We'll have some sort of an event. Man, that's a good idea. I actually kind of thought about it too. I was like, I'm very interested because I want to display. I believe all this will be eventually public record. And so when it is, that means I can share all of it. That would be my goal, is to share everything. All-nighter hider. I've been sewn and stapled, but never been sued. Nice. HCH, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yes, thank you, Hider. Angel, it is too easy to sue in the USA. It is. I think what we have to do, but I don't mind that. I don't mind the easy enough to sue, because I would want, if I've wronged somebody or if they've wronged me, I would not want it to be like this mountain that I would have to climb that would be, thousands and thousands of dollars to even have the conversation. That's the first thing. The second thing and most important thing is I would want to make sure that if somebody does have the ability to bring a frivolous lawsuit, one that is found to be just purely malicious, that there was already agreement in place and now they've decided to change the rules, then in that particular case, what I would look for is for them to pay my costs. I think there has to be teeth to people going after people just being frivolous and just going after something that we already had agreement on. There was already agreement there. And then she changed her mind. And so that's fine if you want to change your mind, but now you're on notice that if you lose, you're also going to owe damages, because that would cut down in the amount of frivolity that happens in our justice system. Get your lawyer to file a motion to dismiss on grounds of mythical beings called unicorns. Yes. So I'm very interested. We've had a very brief call about it. And he said, because it just happened. He's like, hey, wanted to make sure you know that I got it. I said, hey, he's like, yep, I took a look at it. I said, any concerns? He said, nope. And I said, okay, sounds good. And he goes, but we'll touch base next week. We'll follow up on it. And he goes, and we'll put everything in place. I said, sounds good. So he hasn't covered everything talking to specific strategy, but he did ask. He's like, so do you want to go on this one? I said, yep, 1,000%, full blast ahead, 1,000%, 1,000%. Let's absolutely go. Let's go. Richard Gamino, that has a ring to it. Landlord's my size. I know, true story, right? Well, that's the thing is, like, I want to, it's not that I think more of landlords of size. It really comes down to that if you have 4,000 tenant years of landlording versus 40 tenant years of landlording, the recognition is it's far higher likelihood that that person with 4,000 years has been through a lot more stuff. That's the whole reason I put out the course, was because with my 4,000 years of landlording, I have more landlord years than most landlords will have, even by the time they finish their illustrious career. That's okay. That's not a pride thing. That's much more a statement of fact, just based on math. So that's where I kind of come from, where this with the size thing is just a more experience. I know that I usually will call, one landlord had about 600 units. So that was a conversation that I had with them. It also matters too, the merits of the case, that kind of matters too. Because again, 21 years, this has never happened to us. We have a track record. We have a track record of doing the right thing and taking care of stuff. So Daniel Fiore, any business is subject to slipping Jimmy. Yes, true story. Bedros, F that would embolden them. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Countersuing is they take for the misuse of the state. Exactly. Totally agree with you. Yep. Oh, I see a super chat. So I'm going to roll to see the super chat. Oh, I missed another one. Sam Farho. Yes. Legal defense support. Thank you, Sam. Hi, Matt. Suing tenants credit score. Also, do you use landlord thermostats? So you can, so great question, HCH. Suing tenants credit score. So what we would, it depends on how everything goes. We would not look to file anything erroneous. The fact of the matter is that they did pay. And so the issue would become, if the, the issue would become is how this goes down. So I don't honestly know. At this point now, I don't see how it would affect their credit score per se. But I don't know. This is the part where I've never been sued before and never have gone through it. I don't know, but I don't see going after their credit score. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to be punitive. The goal is to have justice. That's it. It's just justice. That's it. And landlord thermostats, no. Many of the Honeywell units, and you can talk to your heating specialists. Many of the Honeywell units have the ability to set a max temp. And so that's what we do. In our Honeywell units, we actually just set a max temp. And that max temp is, I believe it's 71 or 72 is the max temp that we have set with those, because people don't understand that the heater is not an accelerator. It's not the faster you push and the higher number that you go, the faster it gets there. People don't get that. And that's like 80% of tenants. They need to understand, yes, that's not a matter of how fast. So yeah. Oh, Ninja Vanish Legal Defense Fund. Thank you very much, Ninja Vanish. Appreciate you guys. Sorry, just going back to the top. Oh, good. Lots of good questions, guys. Daniel Fiore, are these the 800 credit score tenants? No, we didn't take those tenants. Didn't take them. Nope. They have a decent credit score. Yeah, they have a decent credit score. But again, this isn't to be punitive. This is really only for one thing and one thing only. Justice. That's it. Just justice. Follow through with what was agreed to. That's it. That's it. I'm suing GoVets for sending me the wrong item as advertised and not allowing a return or refund. I gave them notice in every opportunity. It's about the principles. It really is. If other landlords your size always get sued, just proves how far you have come. True. I think, again, from my perspective, having gotten sued, I'm not like, yeah, I got sued. I've made it. No, I could have gone forever not being sued, but recognizing that it's part of this process in most cases. I was surprised that all these other landlords, all of them have been sued a number of times. A couple of the attorneys that I talked to, they're like, oh, you don't need to be as big as you are to get sued. We have a number of landlords with a lot fewer units that seemingly get sued. I'm like, tell me their names so I can give them my course. I need them to buy my course because they clearly do. And he started laughing. He goes, it's no joke. He goes, they do it a whole lot better. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see. Robert Finelli, can you evict them after the lawsuit by proving it's frivolous? So that's all part of this process. The crazy thing is they're already gone. They're already gone. We agreed to a lease termination. They're already gone. Yeah. Bougie Barbie, 21 years is a great run of no lawsuits. Thank you, Bougie. I appreciate that. I thought so. Again, we just do our business right. It didn't, but what was interesting to me was even though we do our business right, and even though I talked with the attorneys and they said, yeah, there's a lot of great landlords out there. And he's like, but they get one of those tenants. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it is what it is. Let's see. Bedros Peter Bedrosian. Admit it, Matt. You had them at gunpoint to sign the contract. Yes. So Peter brings up a phenomenal point here. Here's what I can tell you. I've literally had people say, well, you made me take the apartment. I'm a what? A what? I'm sorry, come again? You made us take the apartment. You made us sign. Okay. Give me all your money out of your account then. I mean, if you're doing everything I say, it's silliness. And that's the thing is we awarded them the apartment. We awarded them the apartment. We had 4 other people that wanted it. We awarded them the apartment. So I had other people that were thrilled. They wanted the place so badly, but we awarded it to them. So then to find out that basically within 90 days, it turns into this. Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. But again, they wanted to take no accountability or responsibility for the fact that we would have to get it re-rented. So that's why I'll go to the ends on this one. Paul Christian, I got sued as a trustee 1.5 years, $15,000 and dropped after discovery. Nothing here for them to get. Exactly. True story. Yep. And that's the other thing too, is it's like, I could just hand the paperwork over to the insurance company, but insurance companies are honestly, they are happy to settle, not interested. I am not interested at all in settling. I am 1000% interested in going forward. And so that's why I'm full on going forward with my attorney. Anna K, craziness with tenants. True story. Chester Williams. Good morning, Matt and everyone. Good morning, sir. All-nighter hider. Good morning, Chester. Chester Williams. Holy cow. Someone is taking Matt to court. Yes, sir. They are indeed. They are indeed. In all honesty, guys, my complexion is more based on lack of sleep than a feeling process. And while I respect that, I truly feel I'm not did everything right. We handle ourselves well and with honor. And that's why we'll go all the way. Now, if at the end of the day, we did something wrong and it's something that we can hold on to or grasp onto, then we did it wrong. We aren't perfect. However, we're going to find that out in the process because its face, there's a lot there that just isn't what actually is the case. Let's see. Is this stuff you were being sued for covered by insurance? Don't know. Probably. I mean, most things are when it comes to being sued. I'm just not interested in going down that path. Like I said, I think that a lot of times they look to settle because they look at the cost of them trying the case. And if they say, oh, this is going to cost us $8,000 or $10,000 to try it. Well, what will they take? And they'll take more. He thinks that I might just hand this off to an insurance company. That's just not going to happen. That is not going to happen. This is going to go the distance. I have zero issue with that whatsoever. This is going to go the distance. Yep. All-nighter, learning opportunity. Yeah, it's exactly that. And it's going to hopefully be a learning opportunity for you guys because I believe this will all be public record and then we'll bring it and we'll share it. Like I said, we share everything except for our final numbers. What does it mean when you say you will take it to the end and why would you take it to the end? So what that means is that I'm not going to settle. Nope. I would rather die on the hill of justice than bow the knee to tyranny. It's just that simple. And I know people don't really talk like that anymore, except for maybe Hyder. But sorry, that's just the way it's going to go. I am setting my principles and we did the right thing in every step. And if they believe that we didn't, and if they can show me where I misstepped, if my attorneys can say, you know, you did this and you should have done this, and that's going to become a problem, then I'll say, I need to understand why that's a problem because I believe that was the right thing to do with honor. And if they say, nope, it should have been this, and here's why. Okay, then we made a mistake. We're humble to admit that we make a mistake. It's just that we've been doing this so long and never been sued that it's hard to believe that the way that this is going, that we made any mistake. So that's why we follow the process. So what I mean by to the end is there's not some settlement number that I'm just going to be like, okay, we'll pay. Cause they offer that in the very first letter to us. We demand this amount of money. No, nope. Sorry, not happening. Nope. Absolute no. Jerry Ryan. Hey, Jerry, keeping you in our thoughts and prayers. You've got this. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. Yeah, truly and honestly, peace. Truly and honestly. I believe we conduct ourselves every day as if we would live in the unit that we're renting. If it's one that we've had a tenant out of that we've then had back to ourselves. Because some of the stuff that we bought was admittedly gross. We bought from slumlords, and we don't kick people out. We just say, you can stay where you are and the rent will remain this. And then when they finally tap out, then we go in and we redo the unit. But we carry ourselves with honor and integrity and character. Those are the words that are important. Those are the words that I teach my kids. Character, honor, integrity. And so from our perspective, that's what will let us sleep well at night, recognizing that I'm not perfect. If I did something wrong, then I did something wrong. And if that means that there's something more than what I think is fair to pay, then that's what that will mean. But it is not going to be based on giving up. It is not going to be that. Nope. Sorry, wrong dude. Sam Farho, takeaway, be a good landlord. You got it, sir. Those tenants are petty. That's crazy. It really is kind of insane. But like I said, that letter was everything in the kitchen sink thrown into it. So that's fine. That's fine. Okay, but then we're going to go to the end on this. That's fine. Good morning, Laura, San Maniego. Good to have you. What are they asking for in the suit? They're asking for basically for every dime they ever paid for the unit to be fully refunded. Everything. And storage fees and everything else. So, no. Nope. Equity is key. That's what the courts are about. Exactly, Hyder. And that's all I'm looking for. Equity. I want justice. Ronald Zion, great morning. Great morning, Ronald. Good to have you here. Ninja Vanish, good to have you here, sir. Tom Kine, good morning. Good to have you. Sorry you're being sued. You mentioned your legal fund. Does insurance not cover your legal defense? John Texas, great question. So I did cover that a little bit. Insurance likes to settle, and this one I want to fight. So we're not giving it to the insurance company. We're just going to fight this one with an attorney or attorneys. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I want to go with this one. Sam Farho, thank you, my friend. Bitcoin man, just give him some hush money. Nope, not my style, dude. Sam Farho, hush money. You know, that may be a good idea. Nope, not my style. Sorry. Nope. Sorry. Tenant may run out of money before you can settle. They can drop at any point. They can. That's true. That's true. At the end of the night, guys, I just want justice. Period. End of story. Period. So, yep. In my course, we will be talking about this today in the boot camp as well, as an FYI. All-nighter. All right, I'm shifting focus. I'll leave this playing for the algo. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. But yeah, give God his due, my friend. Nick Raglan Johnson, every time you hit the like button, an angel gets its wings. Oh, Nick Raglan. Thank you, my friend. And with the D online, much appreciated. James Walsh, Matt, any insight? I got quoted for $700 for installing a 40 by 60 inch granite island countertop, removing the old piece and fastening the new piece. Does that seem reasonable? 40 by 60. So basically 3.5 by 5. Yeah, it's in the range. It's in the range. That's not horrible. I mean, you're looking at that's probably about 40 a foot, 40 a square foot. Like, that's not horrible. That's not horrible. Well, it's for installing. Yep. Fastening the new piece. Yeah, that's not bad. No, that's pretty reasonable. That's right in the range. There's a cost doing business. So I'm not here to grind on guys that are trying to run their businesses. Excuse me. No, that's in the range. Yeah, 700. I'd pay that for that size of an island to get swapped out. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that price. Yeah, good question, James. Sam Farho, tenant run out of money, right? That could happen. Yeah, sure, they could. They could. I don't know what arrangement they have with their attorney. They could be, hey, you take on the case and we'll pay you a third. Damages, no idea. No idea. But that's okay. Either way it goes. Had to sleep in on my day off, but howdy y'all. Hey, REI, good to have you. Yeah, hider. Yeah, I agree. I think that number's fair. Yeah, because even if I hired like general labor to do that, you're going to be a couple of hundred, like picking it up and putting it in and making sure it's all level. And, because if you have anything more than like, I think a quarter of an inch over that spread, you can get a crack. So yeah, that number is not a bad number at all. With removal and installation, correct. Is this going to arbitration or small claims court? TBD, Chester Williams. TBD. Attorneys are going to speak this week. Oh, where's Josh? Did I miss Josh? I'm sorry, Josh, if I missed you. REI Stoners, can these flushable wipe companies be sued for false advertising? Yeah. So it's really funny that you say that. I've thought for the longest time that landlords should do a class action lawsuit against flushable wipe companies for the longest time. Because I end up having to bill the tenants. Sometimes I've had to eat it, but yeah, I think that I don't disagree. Flash of light. I sued someone else. My main worries were legal costs, having to go through a deposition and having to hire expert witnesses. Thank God they settled with me quick. So that's true. And that's why that's why I want to put the burden on them, because I think it's completely absurd. It's completely absurd. All nighter. I'm suing pro se, meaning I'm my own attorney. I know what that means, but thank you for describing it to everybody else. Robert Northam, they need consequences for sure. I believed in that. I believe that when you do something that's counter to what you've already agreed to, and the matter was settled and then you believe it's no longer settled, that you changed your mind, I believe that there needs to be a consequence to that, because this is really about one thing and one thing only, which is justice. And we made an agreement to separate. It's just that simple. So yeah, that's my thought on it. Jerry Davis, amen, brother. Consequences. Ninja Vanish, yes, sir. Bunch of libertarians here. Robert Farinelli, I think in my lease that if my tenant sues me for anything, it says that if I win, they are on the hook for the cost with defending myself. Leases do say that. My lease says that. The reality is it's challenging to get paid. Yeah. Wayne Miller, their lawyer will probably put a lien on your property. You better countersue and put a lien on any property they have. They don't have any property. They're renters. They don't have any property. And that's fine. He can only win. He can only get that lien if he wins or if I don't pay. So he can't go right to getting a lien on my property. I can pay whatever the judgment is. But thankfully I'm not going to be there because there's not going to be any judgment. It's just that simple. Good call, Robert. Way to be proactive. Yep. The challenge is I don't think it stands. So I don't disagree with it. It's in my lease. I just don't think it stands. Holy cow, I fell behind. All right. I'm gonna try and catch up, guys. Sorry. REI Stoners. Dave's not here, man. Dave was here. He's just out for a second. John Williams. Principals are expensive. Great quote. Thank you. Someday when my neighbor's nonsense in public data, I'm going to tell the world of his chickens and BS. Principals are expensive, guys. That's the way that it goes. And earlier in my career as a landlord, when things were much more difficult, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this, is because if I were a newbie, I don't know that I could afford to do it, but I'm not a newbie and I can afford to do this. And I want justice. Hold everything. Dave's not here. Yeah, he was. Daniel Fiore, Bob Marley and the Whalers, 4,000 years. Okay. Disappearing Dave. Matt Bittner. Sometimes it seems like there's no difference between a lawsuit and extortion. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, when I read it, I was like, that's interesting. I'm interested to know why you think you deserve that, but we'll have that conversation. Dave's not here. Thank you, Sam. Okay, I really have to go be watching still. No problem. See you, Hider. Jordan Harmon, thoughts on doing a walkout basement. The home I'm under contract on has a kitchen. I want to add wall to create second room and dig out walkout from existing window. I think I can do it myself. I don't know your skills. It's impossible to say, but anytime that you can add square footage, sure, of course. Walkout basements, if you're built into a slope, yeah, I always try and take advantage of a slope. Because if you're built into the slope of a hill and you can get walkout, for me, that's where my head always goes. But understanding if it's doable for you and exactly your situation with what your budget is and what you're trying to accomplish, all things I can't weigh in on or give you opinion on. Dave is not here, man. Thank you. Someone just texted me. That's a Cheech and Chong reference. I don't know. I'm not that old. It's not really my genre either. Oh, see, they're dividend Dave's here. Matt Bittner, have you thought about countersuing? Not more than just thought about it. So yeah, we're going through everything this week with the attorney. Yep. Yes, indeedy. Right. I had one of those tenants and one of those property managers. Yep. But I am still in the real estate game. Bougie Barbie. Good for you. See, this is the thing. Like, this isn't going to make me think, gee, you know what? I'm just getting out of the game. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home and I'm going to sell my properties. Nope. We did it right. And we've done it right for 21 years. Does it mean we're perfect? No. Does it mean we make mistakes? Sure. Does it mean that we did what they said we did? No, it doesn't. And so if we made a mistake in the process, or if after review and discussion between my attorney and their attorney, that he believes that while 99% of it's junk, there's this one piece where he says, hey, there's this one piece that does need to be dealt with. Okay, then we'll deal with it. Like, it's just that simple. So I don't know. That's where it's, again, the value in this. And one of the things that I teach in the course is have experts doing what experts should be doing. I'm not trying to fight this attorney on my own. I'm not trying to go pro se. This is a serious matter. And so this is something that you have to have an attorney take care of and handle. And I didn't wait until I had an issue to find an attorney. I found an attorney. I stayed in touch with them. It's somebody that I think is very talented and his record proves it. And this is the path that we're going to go down. Flash of light. Your lawyer will enjoy compelling the tenant to show up at deposition, cost the tenant money, and make the tenant look like a liar, even if the trial happens. Agreed. And I think so. Flash of light, you bring up a good point. My goal isn't to humiliate them. That's not the goal. My goal is purely justice. We run our business in a way that our focus is running our business with honor and integrity and character. If you do things with honor and character and integrity, then you have a 21-year record where you don't get sued. I believe that they're directly correlated. Now, we're blessed to have not been sued and we have good business processes in place, but we've always handled ourselves with honor, character, and integrity. We respect people. We take care and address things as they come up, and we are reasonable to work out solutions with. I think that that's the magic to landlording. I think that's the magic to running pretty much any business. Now, you can't take into account how the other person's always going to react, but I don't own their feelings. I don't own how they feel about the situation. That's on them. That's their issue. So that being said, it just is what it is. If we did something wrong, then by all means, 1000%, we'll pay for it. Way it goes. If my attorney comes back to me and says, you did this and this wrong, and I believe that this is worth this, I would say, okay, explain that to me. And if he explains that to me and tells me this is, and shows me, I'm a layman. I don't know. I don't believe we did anything wrong because I believe we handled ourselves with honor and character and integrity. And so if there is something there, then I'll have to be shown why it is the case because I'm not an attorney. KS, what happened? I got sued. You got to go back to the beginning. Laura Samaniego, driving back home from East Coast, Florida, getting my duplex ready for hurricane season. Ooh, Laura, good luck. Kenor, hi all. Nice day. You too, Kenor. Good to have you. In my honest opinion, this sounds like a frivolous lawsuit from a butthurt tenant. Definitely would like to know what the ultimate outcome is. Hoping you come out on top. I think in all honesty, so one of the things that's interesting is I've seen plenty of lawsuits for other landlords. I've seen things that they've done and I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't have done that to the tenant. And so I believe that they got to the point where they treated it only like a business and not like this is a people business. And so we love our tenants. We take care of our tenants, where it's our responsibility to take care of the unit that they live in and curate the experience. That's why we're more offended when somebody destroys one of our units or does the wrong thing, is because we know that we're great landlords and we take care of our tenants. We answer their questions. We get things serviced. We don't let things dangle out there for forever and not take care of them or fix them. So that's where it's important to us. Yeah. But yeah, I think, personally, them as a tenant, she's very high maintenance from my experience with her, in my opinion, but yeah, we'll see. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Will your next live be from Gary? I believe so. It's next Sunday. Yeah. Holy cow. Yep. Ninja Vanis, if you have high insurance deductible like Dion and your insurance says they won't settle, would you be out for the deductible amount if you went that route? No, because I'm not bringing in the insurance company. I'm just using my own attorney. Nope, just using my own attorney. Let's see. Angel, Lumberjack, what would be a fair range price to install a chain link fence 4 feet by 200 feet fence in my market? I don't know. We don't do chain link here. Usually we just got one quoted. I want to say it was, what was it? $10,000. It's $10,000 and it was, I think it was like 200 feet maybe, but it wasn't chain link. It was a big, tall wooden fence. So I thought that was expensive. So we're shopping around for that project. Richard Gamino, are they loco? Crazy. You're done with them. They be like Roberto Duran. No mas. Yeah. I mean, again, the idea isn't to abuse them. It really isn't. I thought I was content. I wasn't happy, but I was content with the agreement that we had. I was content with that. And so she isn't, even though she agreed to it. Okay. I guess take backsies are a thing still. And so now she wants to go this route. So let's go this route. Okay. Yep. And now you're not going to get the person that wanted to make sure that you were in a better position than them. Now you're going to get whatever you get. Way it goes. And we'll invest in the case until that point. We have 73 watching and 44 likes. Please hit the like button in case you haven't already. I thank you very much, Chester Williams. Sam Farho, are you going for charging tenant your legal fees if they lose? Is this part of the contract? It is part of my lease. Yep, it is part of my lease. And so I believe that will be part of what we would do. But again, that's up to the attorney. He has a copy of the lease, all of our correspondence, and the letter from their attorney. So let's go. Leela Kiros. I had one of those weeks as a landlord where I hit the wall, 4 out of 8 units not wanting to pay. I thought about selling all and landlording elsewhere, but I didn't get sued. Yeah. Guys, in the landlord game, you got to have at least a little bit thicker skin than the average Joe. You're going to get hit. You're going to, and the idea is you keep on getting up because again, you're making an investment. It's an investment. If it were easy, everybody would do it. It's just that simple. That's why it becomes a skill and you have to get good at it. James Welsh, Matt, bouncy wood floors in an old house. Have you ever used a metal beam from Home Depot? Tiger brand jack post. I figured I could put in 3 or 4 of them into the basement, tighten up the living room floors. So you can do that, James. Me in particular, I like LVLs better. So posts are easier, but I like LVLs better. Yeah. So I have a structural engineer that I use. He's usually about $500 or $1,000 to come out, take a look at something, do the measurements, and then give me calculations. And then says, these are your couple options. And then I pick the one that I like the most, and then we follow through with that. So me personally, I like LVLs if they're possible. My preference would be an LVL or LVLs, plural, not posts. That's my preference. But it depends on the basement. Depends on a number of factors, but structural engineer is how I go. Then they say, hey, these are okay, or these are your couple options. And I pick one of the options that they said was okay. Invest to Wealth. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Invest to Wealth. Cashflow Johnny Ramirez. What's up, freak? Daniel Fiore, curious if the plaintiff has an attorney. If he does, the attorney work on contingency. My guess is the attorney is going to work. My guess is, because it's a tenant, my guess is the attorney is working on contingency. And she, yeah, I assume so. But he's only gotten her side of the story. You know, Kenor, you do it to make the poor rich. It's a true story. That's exactly why I do it. Laura Tenney, good to have you. I've been fighting for a year to get a property that I bought as a tax deed. Ooh, the only person winning is the lawyer. Yeah, true story. So I will say this. That can certainly be the case. That's why a lot of times, so I have a deal that came across my desk. I would love this deal. This deal has a money tree in the backyard. Literally, you could pluck hundreds off of it. I won't do it. And the reason that I won't is because the risk. There's risk on the inside of that deal. I would tell you that deal, but I don't think I can. Pretty sure I signed an NDA. But that deal has a money tree in the backyard. The issue is it would put my other portfolio, the rest of it might put some banking relationships at risk. It might put my portfolio at risk because of the fees and fines and everything else. It's just not what I'm willing to do. Sorry that you're going through that. I do know what that feels like, certainly, feeling like all you're doing is paying an attorney. Like I paid an attorney $5,500 to do a very complex eviction. Now I got 2,200 or 2,500 back from the tenant out of it. But that was the cost of principles. Cost me $3,000 out of pocket. That was the cost of principles. That was an investment that I was willing to make. Wayne Miller, I got sued. They ran out of money. They were forced to drop the case, but the lien had already been put on my property. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I'm sure that the attorney will figure that piece, or I'm sure he knows what that piece needs to look like. I don't see how they would be able to file that lien. They don't, there's no damage they can prove at this point. And I don't think I'm pretty sure, because if that were the case, anybody could go file a lien on any property. It was definitely a Cheech and Chong reference. I was wondering how many would get it. Thanks for calling me old, Matt. It wasn't an old thing. It was a demographic thing. Oh, that's good. RA Simmers, that's good. Great topic. When I wanted to evict my tenant, my PM told me to let it go. She said it would cost me more money on the attorney by trying to enforce the contract. Kind of key for the money. Yep. No, I get that. And so I think in that particular case, I think that's right. But I already have the keys back. I already have the unit back. It's already mine. They're already gone. And now they're doing this after the fact. because we agreed on something. That's why they left. And now they're doing this after the fact. So that's why it's like, I have my unit back. So that's going to be one of the conversations. Hey, I have the unit back. They sued me within 8 days of moving out, 9 days of moving out. As far as I'm concerned, they way jumped the gun. So that's what the attorney is going to have the conversation with them about. Let's see. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, KI. KI, you need to put, tell me in boot camp. I need to know the proper way to pronounce your name. Sam Farho, what documents do you have contractors sign before paying them, such as not to file a lien on you in the future? So there's something called a lien waiver. That's something I will have them sign. Yep. But I'll also put on the check. So I'll write them the check and I'll say it's for this thing. And then I'll put paid in full. And that means when they go to cash that check that they're recognizing and agreeing that it was paid in full. It depends on your state though. But for me, that's always been good enough for me. I have, the only time that comes into place is if there is a change order, usually. And so that's where you really have to have in place. This is what the contract was. Here are the gates by which I pay you. And this is the point where it's like, of course, people end up in court. Like the contractor wants to get paid and the homeowner says you didn't finish it. And I saw a case just like that. I saw a case like that where a guy who had his driveway done, he had his driveway done by somebody. He paid $370 to have it seal coated. And 6 months later, after the winter, a spot started to come up. He called the company, they came out, they fixed it. A few months later, it started to come up again. Called the company, they came out and fixed it. Another few months later, called the company, came out, they fixed it. And the guy goes, I'm not fixing it anymore. There's something wrong with that spot. We've cleaned it the way that we're supposed to clean it and prep the space. There's something in that pavement area that is not allowing our product to, our emulsion to stick. The guy still sued him. I sat there in the court and the judge goes, no, he went out there 3 times. There's something about that spot that he can't control. The guy actually asked for all of the money back. Come on. You had a job done. It was one part. Like, don't ask for the whole money, all the money back. And the guy came out 3 times. At that point, I would just go, there's clearly something going on with that part because the rest of the driveway all stuck fine and perfectly. It was this one spot. Who knows what impregnated that pavement? Who knows what fluids or materials were in that? Who knows? It's impossible to say. So just based on that, yeah, I wouldn't find the other guy guilty. Like I agree with the judge. I was like, listen, you $370, man. Like the guy went out there 4 times. He clearly did everything he possibly could. And it's not like the company warranties the product. And if that had happened on one of our jobs, I would have been like, yeah, dude, something's going on there. And I would have taken note and said, hey, this is what the problem is. Now I probably would have called somebody else and said, this problem is it still continues to not stick. How do you guys prep it differently? And if they said, oh yeah, we prep it differently and this is how we do it. But you know what the guess would be? That guy wasn't 370. That guy was probably $800 and this guy was cheaping out anyway. So that's how I feel about that. Paul Christian, I doubt the tenant will take it all the way. Their lawyer will recommend dropping it when they see the documentation. Courts love the docs. True story. And her documentation to me is just like them going back all the way to the beginning is just absurdity. They didn't notify me that there was an issue until 2 weeks before they left. And we agreed on them exiting. So yeah, whatever. Exactly. REI Stoners, does an inspector look at structural issues or do you need a structural engineer? An inspector can look at them. However, you need a structural engineer because it's going to be a few $100, maybe up to $1,000 to have a structural engineer come out and take some measurements, look at it. One of the things that the structural engineers, and this, do not use this in lieu of getting a structural engineer, but one of the things structural engineers look at is, in most cases, you have a center beam, and then you typically have your beams tied into that beam, into the main beam. If you see that these beams are pulling away from that center beam and you can see a gap between the beams and there's a pull away there, that's usually a sign that you have some sort of a structural issue that those that those joists are sitting on, or even rafters are sitting on, where it's starting to pull away. That's a very easy sign to see yourself. And then you know immediately you do. However, you still need to get a structural engineer to come and take a look at that stuff. Millennial Mike, Matt is old. I can confirm. The only reason that Mike knows that I'm old is because I have that much more money than he does. Don't do it, Mike. Don't do it. That was fun. Let's see. REI, don't forget to hit the like. Thank you, sir. Jordan Harmon. Plot is flat land and I have experience operating heavy equipment. Okay. We need to pull my own permits and hire concrete workers about 9 feet to the basement. Yeah. I mean, in that case, Jordan, where you know those trades, always for me, I always add square footage when I can. If you know that you can already move the earth, and if you move earth, then you know concrete guys. And so then it's just permits, then yeah, in that particular case, in my shoes, that would be what would make me make the decision to do that. But again, still up to you. The key is that how much does it change for you? And do you believe it's of value? But if I have, like, my life, knowing what I know about properties is what allows me to buy the worst one on the street and make it the best one on the street. And so that's where, for me, I'm willing to take on that risk. Again, you have to decide your own risk profile of what you'd like to do. But when I have experience in something, I use that experience to better enhance the value of the asset. Tom Kine, we are live. Yeah, I don't know I apologize for that. That is definitely a new YouTube thing. I have to figure out what's going on with that. So I'll try and figure that out. It just said something about an ad. And so it gave me a pop-up and I was ignoring it. So apologize for that, guys. Big bro, like bro. Big bro, little bro, Kurt Jones. Yes. Yes. KS, I had my case locked tight and I lost. Possible. Yeah, it's there are cases, like, all due respect, if you had amazing attorneys that have a phenomenal winning record, that's what I tend to trust. It's not like I'm really smart and I'm taking this on my own and I have all the facts and all the details. I let the attorney assess that. That's up to them. My job is to go the distance because I believe in the cause. Yeah. Sam Farho, walls are white and I want a contractor to paint them white too. Contractor thinks he wants to charge me same fees for painting, but isn't that an easier job if it was color paint one layer? Maybe, not usually. I mean, a change from a light color to a dark color would be charged more usually. But that's where you fight with extra quotes. That's all. I would just say, okay, I appreciate that's your number. I'm going to go talk to some other contractors because I don't believe it should cost that. Paul Jensen, I've been sued once. They had big negative feels and of course lost when the judge said your feelings are irrelevant. It's kind of how I think. REI Stoners, doesn't inspector? Nope. Sorry, I got that one. Richard Gamino, is it better to use the standard 27.5 year write-off or the accelerated depreciation? How does it affect an investor's ability to borrow for future rentals, if at all? It doesn't affect it at all. Also, what if the person has no W-2? So that's where DIY cost seg, those are cost segregation conversations and CPA conversations. For me, because I knew I was going to be growing the business, I did cost segregations because I knew I was going to be growing the business. And so it wasn't a matter of, oh my gosh, when we run out of this depreciation, like then we're sunk. Nope, wasn't that at all. We have other properties that we can cost segregate. So for me, it was much more about what's the right thing for us to do. So that's our process, I guess. So that would be something that I would talk to DIY cost seg about. They have a calendar, use the code 1000 lumber. and you'll get a discount on your cost seg, but use the Calendly opportunity to discuss it with them. If you're getting ready for your taxes and you don't understand how cost seg works and you don't understand, there's a video on my channel, but reach out to them. They're not going to tell you a cost seg is great if it's not great. That was my experience. They were really good. They were very easy to work with. Wayne Miller, a lien can be put on your property without you even knowing it. Sure. Yep. We never got notified. We found out when we went for a refi. Sure. I'm sure you're covered. I hope the best for you. Thanks, Wayne. Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it can happen. It's easier to do that, but it's also, you know, you can, my understanding with that is that you can actually sue somebody to remove a lien and you can get damages if it was improperly filed. So that's also my understanding of that process. Angel R, any chance you would share a lease template with course members so we can better protect ourselves? So Angel, the only reason that I haven't done that is because leases are very state specific. I don't know if New Hampshire does something differently than where you are, where what we include in our lease would get you in legal trouble. There are a number of things in my lease that are state specific that I know won't fly in other states, but they fly in my state because we're live free or die. That's our state motto. So that's the only reason I don't share a template. I can probably talk to the attorney or one of the attorneys and just say, could I share this under the caveat that this is only for use in New Hampshire? Or this is the lease that we write, and maybe it gives you ideas of how to potentially protect yourself. The challenge is I don't want to send you down a path that likely is going to cost you a bunch of money to maybe add things that aren't relevant to your state. B, add something to your lease that would end up getting you in trouble in court. Or C, be something where it's a whole lot easier just to find an attorney that is already a landlord that has a lease that they use for their own properties. The way that you spin it is, if you're willing to give me your lease, I'm willing to use you as my landlord for getting any tenants out. I'm happy to use you as my attorney, and you'll be fighting with a lease that you know. That's how I convinced one of my attorneys to give me his lease for free. That's what I did. Nugget. Ring Seeker, longtime follower of the Three Amigos. Good to have you here, Ring Seeker. First time commenting on your channel after subscribing. Appreciate that. I'm in the process of looking at a plot of land where the seller is amenable to seller financing. I love it so far. Ring Seeker, do you know if I can get the construction to permanent loan on a seller financed lot? I'm thinking of having a 5-year balloon payment. Do I have to wait for 5 years before I can build there? Yes. Okay. And no. What you need to do is you have to talk to a bank. Every single bank is different with if they're, you know, how they will structure a construction loan. They're all different, very different. And so usually they don't love land. They don't usually love land, but that's why you have the seller financing the land, which is pretty cool. So what you need to be doing is you need to be finding a bank. You need to be taking the scenario, properly documenting it, calling a bunch of banks, asking their opinion, and say, you know what, let me send this to you and let me have you respond back. That's what I would be doing. Is the hardest part of that deal is going to be finding a home for the loan. But that's how I would do it. I would take all of that information and I would basically, you know, get it out to as many bankers as I possibly could. That's what I would do. If I lose, oh goodness. All right, so when I buy a property, I need an inspection, a structural engineer, a plumber to camera and sewer the line, mold inspector. Did I miss anything? So I don't get a structural engineer in the beginning. No, an inspector, when they're reviewing the property, they're going to look for an issue. They would recommend that you get a structural engineer. If you find something structurally wrong, like you see a dip in the floor that's a foot, foot deep, or it falls, 3 inches over 10 feet type of thing, which happens a lot here in the Northeast. So I don't start off with a structural engineer. I only go to a structural engineer if the inspector says, yeah, I see that there's a problem here. That's something that they take a cursory look at, but they're not experts. They can see there's something going on here, but I don't know what it is. That's when you bring in a structural engineer to say, hey, this is an area that he pointed to. Is this in fact an issue? Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, most inspectors are going to have the ability to snake a line and camera a line. They have inspectors out there that are full service, where they'll look at your system, they'll camera the line, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't have one of those in your area, then it's worth hiring, some company that does have a snake, and that might be an extra couple of $100. So the way that I think about it is, some people say, oh, well, the way that Matt does an inspection is about $1,000 or $1,100. The way I can just hire somebody is like $700. Okay, so I made a $400 bigger investment to find out that I might have a $10,000 problem. It's gambling. It's gambling. You're gambling if you go with the cheapest inspector. You're gambling. And if you're leaving things with stones unturned, you're gambling. No pun intended, REI stoners. But that's where, for me, it's like, I'll spend the $1,100 because let's put it this way, if I know that the $1,100 is likely going to show me something I wouldn't have seen otherwise, well, I don't want to gamble. I'm not a gambler. I don't want to get a $10,000 bill for having to replace a sewer line, when if I inspected it for $250, I would have found it. And then you put the seller on notice that it does in fact have an issue, and then they have to disclose that to anybody else, because you then give them the report, and that way they have to disclose it. And what are they going to do? Make a $10,000 repair? Probably not. Will they work with you on the price and maybe give you a credit? Probably. So that's where you don't want to spend $2,500 getting a house inspected. But yeah, you should be. Like I said, I'm usually about $1,100, and that includes scoping a line. That includes an inspector. That includes, I might pay for an hour of my plumber's time and say, hey, just come over, open up the chamber, look in the chamber, make sure this thing was piped properly, because he knows all these different systems. He shows up and he goes, that thing was completely piped improperly. What does that mean? That means that the heat system was not plumbed properly. If that's the case, in all likelihood, it was put under stress, meaning that while that system might last for 30 years, if it was piped properly, we've seen them last 9 years when they were piped improperly. That's something I want to know. And if it's 7 or 8 years in and it's been piped improperly, I'll say, do you think that that's taking years off its life? And he'll say, yeah. And he'll say, I see issues already. We have one that we just found. There's some issues with it. We're going to replace it. Yeah. You did cost segs even on lower price single family home properties. I don't have any lower price single family home properties. We did cost segs on, we gave them kind of a list or like a purchase price, and we said, which ones are going to be the best? And it was stuff that we'd acquired in the last year or two. And they said, yeah, these are your best. So that's what we did. Cash flow, thoughts on vinyl sheet flooring? Don't like it. Haven't liked it. Nope. I still want to do laminate vinyl plank. If you get a rip in that thing or a cut in that thing, I don't see any solution to doing that inexpensively. So yeah, so not a huge fan of that. See your guru. We work hard for times like these. Fox it and move on, boss. Good morning. Good morning. Fix it and move on. I believe that's fix it. And I agree with you. Sam Farho, Matt, best of luck to you in this suit and fighting the BS. Sam, I appreciate that. Guys, honestly, it just is what it is. It's part of the business, right? If I were broke and didn't have proper reserves, I'd be really nervous. If we didn't take care of things and fix things, I'd be nervous. This is the part where you get to sleep well at night. We handle ourselves with character, we handle ourselves with honor, and we handle ourselves with integrity. And so if you do those things, I think largely you're in the best position that you can be, which is, it doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you won't make a mistake, but it does mean that the intention of doing the right thing was always there. And that's the best that I can do. Makes perfect sense, Matt. Appreciate the feedback. You're very welcome. Chester Williams, Matt, I apologize. I don't remember the name of the LVP flooring company recommended out of Vegas. Is it American Flooring Company? Yes, it is. Or am I thinking of something else? It is them. Admittedly, I haven't bought product from them for probably about 12 months because I bought a year's worth of product. Now we're getting down to the point where we're pretty low. So I'll be engaging them again. and we'll see if I'm hoping that we can negotiate something that we can pass on to you guys. Give you some sort of a code like we did with DIY cost seg, because cost seg, it costs you $50 on a residential building and $100 on a commercial building. So I'm excited to do that. Ned Talks, local REIA is typically a good place to start for lease templates. I agree with you, Ned, 100%. You'll also find other attorneys in those groups or property managers in those groups. And a lot of times you can say, listen, I'm not interested in property managing with you yet, but my business is small now. As I scale, that's going to be the goal. And when I get to that goal, you certainly would be first on the list if I was operating with the lease that you gave me. Chester Williams. Awesome. Thank you, Matt. You're very welcome. Very good. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure with you. My throat is more than a little bit fried, so I'm literally going to go upstairs and rest my throat and drink a bunch of water and suck on some lozenges, and get ready for my boot campers at 1:30. Guys, this is always a pleasure and an honor to be able to do this with you guys. I will keep you posted as the progress of the suit. I expect to have some great updates. As it stands now, the plan's still to be in gorgeous Gary next weekend. Yeah, so we'll be talking to attorneys the next few days and seeing how that goes. And I have 2 more eviction hearings this week on Wednesday and on Thursday. So I'm looking forward and staying tuned to those. But I appreciate all your guys' time. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Please make sure if you didn't hit the like button on the way out. And for my boot campers, I will be there 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, ready to go. Legacy Op, appreciate y'all. Does it stand for laminate vinyl plank or luxury vinyl plank? I think it depends on who you ask. Ned Talks, 1000% agree. REI groups are a great place for a lot of valuable information. True story. I still go to REIs. I know Zoob still, I knew that he did used to go to REIs. Dion still goes to REIs. Guys, there's investors there that make money. So, Chester weighs in with luxury vinyl plank. There you go. There you go. Terry Bow, damn, missed it. What up, LL? What up, Terry? It's there for you, my friend. As soon as I hit this stop button, it'll all be there for you. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Hit the like button on the way out. I appreciate y'all. And my boot campers, I will see you in about 40 minutes. See you guys. Have a great one. Take care.